Hello everyone, Ben here, welcome back to the channel. Before we get going with the race today, you'll have to indulge me as I mark the sad news of Murray Walker passing away this weekend. For almost everyone above a certain age, Murray was the commentator that introduced you to motorsport. Bursting with enthusiasm in a time of pretty limited camera angles and production values, his commentary put you in the cockpit, in the thick of the drama. Even now, when I listen to his voice, it takes me back to being an excited kid watching the Grand Prix on a Sunday. He was, and always will be, a legend of motorsport and one of the most influential broadcasters of all time. And given we're racing in Suzuka today, to quote the great man, "Now I've got to stop, as I've got a lump in my throat." Rest in peace, Murray. Let's go to the grid. Right then, here we are on the grid, rolling start, about to get underway. We are in the Porsche and we are starting in 18th, right towards the back of the grid. We just messed up qualifying, embarrassingly enough. I binned it on both of my flying laps, so we are right towards the back of the field. Fortunately, we're not in dead last place. I'm not quite sure why, but it means we're going to have a really tricky time here, picking our way through the field. All sorts of carnage I'm expecting up ahead of us, so we've just got to be nice and careful. As already you can see car going off to the right hand side there, and it's almost a traffic jam coming around the second part of the first corner. A couple of cars off there in the background that you can see. We're now into the S's and we've just about held station. We might have made one or two spots, just the one spot off the start, but more importantly we've got no damage and we're still pointing in the right direction. We're hugging now to the curb on the right hand side. We're then going to chuck to give ourselves the widest line in and then get off the gas and back on again to rotate the car, and that's going to give us a better run out as there's another car binned it on the outside there. That's us up into 16th. It means we've got a better run than the Lotus up ahead, who drifts wide, and we're going to go through Degner 1 side by side, which is never really what you want to do. Mercifully he gets out of it and we're just able to take the position into Degner 2 and try and get back on the gas as soon as we can. We've got another car up ahead of us there, just coming back from the right hand side of the track. We've got a yellow flag out, so there's more action up at the hairpin here, and you can see a blue Lotus just rejoining the track there. He must have swapped ends on him as he came round the corner, and we're going to get a better run than our sister Porsche on the left hand side there, out of the hairpin. We've now got a long sweeping right hander which is pretty well flat out in these GT4 cars. We're going to be on the outside of the next corner, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to get on the brakes reasonably early and hope that the other cars overshoot. Oh, but look at that, I did not expect the Lotus to come past us. We make a little bit of contact, but he's overcooked it and is off into the barriers. We've now got another two cars there, both just getting too hot into spoon, which puts them out wide on the exit and gives them a really poor drag down the straight. It's always better, particularly in this set of corners, to prioritise your exit speed rather than your entry speed, and that has paid off for us as we're now up into 13th, so that is 5 positions gained on this opening lap, and we've managed to get away with just a tiny bit of suspension damage. All in all, not too bad as we come now into the chicane at the end of the lap, and bang, we get a big hit from behind. I've no idea which corner he was braking for, but it wasn't this one. He massively misjudged his braking point there, and we're now round onto the start finish straight. Thankfully we didn't get any damage from that collision either, and we were able to hold the car on the road, because that could have been really nasty. We had a car slowing to our right hand side there, not quite sure what was going on there. Maybe had a slowdown penalty that he absolutely had to take, and more contact up ahead. It is all kicking off here as two cars end up going off from that incident. We're up into 11th. Oh, we're going to have to come to the left hand side, and look at that, another car's going to the right hand side of the Lotus who was rejoining there, and we're up into 10th place. That was think on your feet time at that point. I didn't quite know whether to go to the left or to the right, and mercifully we got away with that all right. There's another yellow flag out here as cars are really struggling to make it round this tricky circuit in Suzuka. I think the car up ahead rejoined there, so we're not going to make up any extra spots just now, but we're sitting in a great position after just one lap in 10th place. Before the race, knowing how bad a qualifying I'd had. Oh, as another car loses it. I can't keep up. Lotus off to the right hand side there. He's going to rejoin all right, but that puts us up into 9th place. As I was saying, I was thinking about what would a reasonable target be starting from the back of the grid, assuming we got through the first lap okay, as the two cars up ahead go side by side through the hairpin. And I think I set my mind on around 6th or 7th place. If I could get up well into the top 10, then that would represent a really good finish. And as you can see, although the pack up ahead is spread out a little bit, I do have 8th and 7th place right up ahead of me here, so we've got a really good chance of getting deep into the top 10. which as far as recovery drives go wouldn't be too bad. Oh, look at that, side by side into the exit, and my goodness, what a crazy decision. That's put us out wide as we were trying to react to that situation there and avoid the spinning car on the apex. It's just not worth it, a 1/3 into the race, to be going so hard into those corners. There's going to be other opportunities to pass, but because we get a bad exit down the straight there, we're going to have to give up this position. There's no point going through that corner side by side as he gets just a little bit squirrely. I'm not quite sure what happened to the connection there, but thankfully we held it together and he didn't go off either. So we've dropped back down into 9th place. We had to give up that spot because it just wasn't worth fighting it into that corner. I'm hoping now, after 2 laps here, 2 absolutely crazy laps, that the race is going to settle down just a little bit and we can find our pace, because I really do think I've got good pace here, and I think if I hadn't stacked it in qualifying, I could have been on for a challenge of a podium. We're coming now into the first corner and the Lotus up ahead has ran wide and lost it. Just too late on the brakes, perhaps fancying putting a bit of pressure on the BMW up ahead there, but he's ended up rotating the car and has essentially ruined his race right there. He's going to really struggle now in the 9 minutes that remain to get back into the top 10. For our part, we've managed to get through another incident-packed first corner, and we are closing in on 7th place. I just feel like I've got better lines through these corners here than the car ahead, although we're struggling to get the car turned in just a little bit there, but we managed to get through okay. And actually we're closing in the exit of the S's there. It's now within 4 tenths. I'm going to just be nice and careful through the Degners. I don't really want to get alongside him until we're into the second half of the lap now, because maybe there's a chance into the hairpin, but you can actually lose the car on exit of the hairpin if you go in too hot. So I don't feel like I'm in a great hurry to get past him here, because I think ultimately I've got the pace to do it, and then I can get up the road looking after 6th place. He runs wide at the exit of the hairpin, which is going to compromise him all the way down this sweeping right-hander, which, as I say, is pretty much flat. So we're going to try and close in now on the way up to Spoon, and maybe he'll run wide again. And if he does, we're going to prioritise just tucking into the apex nice and tight. We get off the gas before he does, but he runs in, as I said, pretty deep. And again, he's got that all wrong, so we're able to sneak down the inside. He's going to have to tuck in behind us. If we can get onto the curb and just get on the power early, which we can, we're going to have that place done. And that's a really satisfying overtake, actually. So, wow, 7th place. What an opening half to this sprint race. I knew it was going to be action-packed starting at the back of the grid, but I didn't think it was going to be quite that action-packed. So it took us then another 3 or 4 minutes to get onto the back of 6th place. You'll have noticed the gap has dropped significantly, and we're now just 6 tenths behind. We were able, over the next couple of laps, to really reel in the guy up ahead by huge chunks of time. So having gotten onto his rear wing with a good 4 or 5 minutes left, I am actually expecting at this point that I'll be able to make the pass and get into the top 6. Probably anything beyond that is unlikely now, because there's a good 5 or 6 seconds up to Gadir, and I know Gadir from other races is pretty quick. So it's now looking like it's going to be a battle for 6th in the remaining laps of this race. I'm just trying to line him up again into Spoon here, where again I'll prioritise just getting a nice tight apex. Yes, go out wide, but not too much, because I want to get back onto the apex again, which will give me the chance to get on the power early down this back straight. He's ran in wide, so we are going to get a better run out of that corner, but is it going to be good enough? It's not looking like it is, with a half-second gap up to his rear wing. So we are closing, but we're not going to be alongside, and we don't actually want to go alongside through this corner coming up here. So we're just able to be nice and neat and tidy. We might do better on the brakes here, but we're not going to really be able to get alongside. So again, it's going to be a case of just closing up, trying to remain consistent, and hopefully putting a bit of pressure on into the first corner of the next lap as we come onto the start finish straight. We're going to hopefully just about still be within his draft. We need to get a bit closer, to be honest. Like 6 tenths is not going to be good enough. So unfortunately we weren't able to do it right up until the final lap of the race here, and we do then get a bit impatient on the gas as we enter the final lap, and we nearly lose it completely. We just about hold on to that there, and unfortunately that might be our best chance of getting past him gone. We've got a back marker here that we're going to have to go around the outside of. He's had a big shunt somewhere, and fortunately we're able to just about keep the guy up ahead within our sights. It's still under a second, so we might still have an opportunity towards the back end of this lap if we're able to just make sure he doesn't get away from us through the first half of the lap here as we enter into the Degners for the final time. I think I am quicker than him through this set of corners. We're much more aggressive on the curb there for sure, so we take a good couple of tenths just on the entry to the Degners, and we're going to get another tenth and a half on exit, although he gets a slightly better exit than we do to hold that gap there at 6 tenths, so it doesn't look like the hairpin is going to present an opportunity unless he makes a mistake. So once again we're in a position where it's going to have to be spoon or into the final chicane if we're going to get past realistically, unless he makes a big error. So we're now tracking him again 6 tenths behind through this long sweeping right hander. I'm going to be slightly more aggressive on the brakes because I want to carry as much speed through as I can, but again prioritizing the early apex, come out wide and then get back on to the second apex and get on the gas as early as we can. Now he has ran slightly wide and we've got a much better exit, so we're now within 3 tenths of him coming down the back straight here. Big decision to come here. Do I go side by side through the next corner? It's going to be epic if we do. We've got no choice basically. We're going to run it at the back of him. So we do pull to the left hand side. I try and give him plenty of space, but it pinches us on the apex. That means he gets a better exit. We're going to try and get on the brakes late again, but we're going to have to go around the outside because he takes a nice defensive line. There's a tiny bit of contact, but nothing severe. We're going to try and do the switch back onto him, onto the final straight. This is it. It's going to be a drag race to the end. We do have a better exit and we are closing. We're within 3 tenths. We're practically running nose to tail, but unfortunately we just can't make it count, and we end up coming home in 7th place. We couldn't nick 6th place at the death, but what a fantastic race. I mean, I wish I hadn't messed up my qualifying, but the fact that I did provided us with huge amount of entertainment here at Suzuka in the GT4s. There you are, there's final classifications. I hope you've enjoyed the race. If you have, smash that subscribe button, leave a like, and I will see you next time.